Now, another issue that I talk about a lot on the show is the problems with our education system. Now, yes, it's too woke and there's way too much lefty programming that goes on, but the reality is that the basics of our system are not working. We've spent more than $300 billion, repeat, $300 billion on the education system over the past 15, 20 years. What's the result now in 2023? A third of kids are behind on their learning. They fail the basics of reading, writing, comprehension and mathematics. Now, we have long said on this show that despite the fact that the Gonski report, the Gillard era, the promises of the former government, it's not about more money, it's about greater discipline. The reality is that our schools are too often just wild. And there are too many parents that are more than happy for this to be the case because the kids are off their hands for a few hours each and every day. And if you don't believe me, what about the OECD, the overarching group that has a look at all sorts of things like the performance of discipline in Australian schools? We got an interesting read in the Sydney Morning Herald over the weekend. I didn't get a chance to talk about it last night, but it now starts to talk about what is going on in our classrooms. Anxiety, ADHD, snowplow parents, and a snowplow parent is someone who just ignores whatever the teacher says and always says, little Johnny and little Jessica, oh, they're perfect, nothing could ever be wrong. Our classrooms are currently in a world of pain. The article reads, the reasons are myriad. Complications of technology such as social media fights, bullying, is spilling over into schools. The lingering effects of the COVID-19 lockdowns. Oh, sorry, should I mention the ones in Queensland again? With the Sheila who spent $30,000 on a pool covering at Government House, while the kids that she kept out of school because of COVID, that we learnt by mid-2021, and we certainly knew by 2022, was not what people were afraid of at the start of the whole thing. Again, it continues. The effects of the COVID-19 lockdowns on social development. Thousands of kids haven't even gone back to school. Scanned resources to deal with skyrocketing diagnoses of things like autism, anxiety, ADHD, and a crisis of adult authority. Underline that, crisis of adult authority. One expert described it as a more diverse social landscape than ever before in which children bring wildly differing family norms to the classroom. The bit that I said to underline was about the role of the parent. Now, I'm not suggesting we need to bring back the cane, but I do suggest that we need to re-establish the idea that when the kids are told by the teacher they've done something wrong, your job as a parent is to back in the teacher. Not to say, oh, well, no, we'll question the authority, we'll appeal it to the head of the department, then we'll appeal it to the principal, then we'll just ignore the principal, and you did no wrong. Because the lesson that these kids learn is that if there's always a way out, then there'll be a way out when they get into life. It's why so few, or so many, I should say, people can't deal with anything like negative feedback in the workplace, let alone the social disorders, the assault numbers that happen all the way around the country. Again, I need to continue reading this. It's a great read. I'll post it up on the socials. Parents used to back schools when it came to discipline. Some still do. I know I do. But others don't and will believe their child's version over the teachers or complain about the unfairness of consequences, something teachers say is more common in wealthier areas. What a surprise we know that about the wealthier kids, where there's more snowplow parenting, which is trying to remove obstacles facing their children. One principal tells of a mother who offered to sit her child's detention for her. Another says that students use their mobile phones to text mum and dad straight after ticking off, and within minutes, the parent calls the school and undermines the school authority. That's the reality of our schools. That does not take billions of dollars to fix. You need a strong system that does back in the teacher. You need to cut off some of the avenues that parents are using to be able to say, oh, my one's perfect, it's everyone else. It's misinformation on the internet. It's madness, it truly is. But I'm pleased to see a good read, and I'll, again, post it up on the socials.